Appreciate you for that.
No problem. Okay. So
Hey, good morning,
that's
Aziz. I
good
got a quick.
morning.
Hey, I got a quick question for you. This is David Edwards.
Hey David, how are you?
Hey, I'm pretty good. Thank you for the coupon for the 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do me one for a year so I can take a look at it and see if I can do a year? I would rather do that.
Okay, sure, sure. I would create one for you.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Yeah.
That right as of right now. That's the only question I had. I gotta get back to
Okay.
doing my projects, but I still want
Okay.
the mentorship when I can get back to it.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so I'll do the 1 year one for you, then you can just compare it and see.
Yes, thank you very much, man.
All right, no problem.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Does anyone else have any
Hey
question?
Z, is that your son that I'm
Where?
hearing?
Oh no, no,
I hear
that
your
wasn't.
son.
Oh no, that was in David's background. So I think that's his children.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My son
Okay.
is in the room with his mom. Yeah, he's over there
Oh,
eating. Yeah. He's starting to talk now though. Not like
yeah,
talk. It doesn't you can't understand him, but you can tell he's trying to communicate with you. He's making a lot of sound and noise. Yeah.
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 We love that stage.
I
Yeah.
know. And he's smiling a lot too. And he's starting to play a lot. So I really like this stage. Yeah, but he's in the room with his mom. Okay.
Here's this. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you, mate?
I'm fine. It's been a while.
I know. How are you? How's work and everything?
Yeah, I got burnt out last week. I mean, this week, but I guess I made progress, so that compensated for that.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask any progress with Azure, or you're working on it.
That I'm still so I ended up having to like organize all my AWS projects. So that's what kind of like what I'm doing now. That's why I told them um the last week that I was organizing all my projects because I felt like it was all over the place. So once I'm done, I'm going to continue the Azure one. I need to, but I haven't worked on it in like the past couple of weeks though.
Okay, yeah.
And I
Well,
think also adding just my personal life schedule into it just make things difficult for me to work on. Before my son, I had a lot of time on my head where I can work on stuff. Now I'm trying to just fit my working on personal projects that I used to do with him being in the picture. So,
yeah.
but I'll get back. But I think I'm getting better. So I haven't worked on it in maybe like 3, 4 weeks now, but I'll definitely get back to it. I need to. Maybe hopefully once I'm done with organizing all my projects, my main goal is recreate the same projects in Azure. So I
Yeah.
probably won't do too much. I'll just get a good understanding of the Azure architecture and just jump straight at it. Sometimes that works better for me if I just start, then I just troubleshoot my way through it. So and write my notes as I go. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I did a couple of projects at work with Azure, and I have some cool Terraform codes that kind of replicate what you have in the previous AWS project.
Oh
So
wow, that's
yeah,
nice.
yeah. If you need it, I can give you.
Okay, yeah, sure. But I want to the main thing is I want to deploy it in using the management console. So
Okay.
maybe if you have time, you and I, we can probably do a session where just get an understanding of, I haven't had time to look at it, but just the main thing for me is I'm more of like a visual person.
It's
So
okay.
I want to draw the same projects we have, the reference architecture. What the reference architecture for our projects in AWS, I want to draw it in Azure so I can see what it looks like. If I know what it looks like, then I can figure out a way to configure it.
Oh, yeah, that
Because
works.
I will. Mm, sorry. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, so that's the main thing I want to do is just figure out how to what the reference architecture looks like because I started trying to create a VPC in Azure but then it said it has the concept of availability zones, but then I don't see how to select that. It seems like you can just, I don't understand.
Yeah,
It seems like you just create all your subnets and it behind the scenes figure out what the availability zones would be. I don't know. So I haven't looked at it in details, but I'll just try to create it that one time. And
yeah,
I noticed there was also an option to add your NAT gateway into that subnet, create a specific subnet that is meant for NAT gateways and bastion hosts and stuff like that.
correct.
So
Yeah,
so I was just trying to like figure out, okay, how is this? But since then I haven't had time to go back and look at it because again, like I said, my personal life is kind of been busy. So
yeah.
but I'll get back to it.
All right. Yeah. Anytime you're ready, we can take a look at the console. That way, I mean, the UI rather. That way we can kind of have an idea.
Yeah. Because
Azure.
if I know how to build it in the console, writing the Terraform code would be very easy for me. I just need to know what am I picking, what am I selecting when I'm creating these things. So
Yeah.
that's
I promise you one thing. Once you kind of have a feel and understand Azure, it's a lot simpler than AWS. A
Are
lot
you
of things we
sure?
do, it is actually. Azure kind of when you're not writing the code via Terraform, if you do it on the console, Azure kind of take care of things in the back end, and that
Exactly.
way it simplifies it. And by the
Mhm.
time you understand how it works end to end, you'll be like, this is a lot of very cool features. And writing the code is easy. It does very
I wanted
cool.
to ask, Ahmed, do you mind to share with us maybe the code and stuff, like for those of us that's all interested in that as
No,
well?
I do not. I don't
Uh,
mind at all. Yeah, I'll paste it
maybe,
in the group
maybe
chat.
cool. So
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I will do that. Yeah.
Okay.
So as this, whenever you have time and you think, we want to dedicate some hour for working session, just let me know. You can do that.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. The main thing is just doing completing it in the management console. If I can complete it in their portal, then that's fine. Then Terraform becomes 10 times easier. Writing the Terraform code becomes 10 times easier if you can do that. So
Yeah.
that's the first step for me. Then my goal is to just recreate all the projects in Azure, and have the same project completed in AWS and the same project completed in Azure. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get there.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. All right. Does anyone else have any question?
Yeah, Aziz, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. This question I mean, it's also for any other, members that may have any any clue. So my question is, as far as looking for a job is concerned, we know that Indeed.com is there,
Mhm.
and what is it called? LinkedIn is also good.
Mhm.
It's so funny, like in the past, have been the visibilities of my profile has been rewarding by, interviewers, but all of a sudden I'm not getting the same response. So as a result of that, so my question is, do you have any other, platform for jobs, especially IT related, so that I can also look outside LinkedIn and Indeed.com? So that is my question. And that is what I said. It's also open to any other person who might want to share. So that is my question. Because
Yeah.
it has been so kind of somewhat slow,
Mhm.
and God forbid, regardless, I still make sure I get my hands dirty to motivate myself. But at
Mhm.
the same time, it can be so discouraging. Sometimes I'll be looking at my laptop and I know I need to do certain things. Just like there was a time somebody asked me ahead of time that if I can share anything related to S3. So which I did. I quickly said, oh, this is not a big deal. Let me just do something and show that person that I can do, a static website via S3 at the same time using SSL and CloudFront and Certificate Manager.
Mhm.
So after I finished doing that, I said, well, I'm going to destroy this thing on the console. But this is where I'm going. I now found out that all of a sudden I couldn't do the same thing again. And I went to the documentation, I went to YouTube, I went to a lot of places. There was no how to do it. Just to find out on the AWS documentation, I cannot come up with any name for my bucket. I have to put the 3 Ws. And then whatever the name of the suffix is, either .com, either .net, either .io, either whatever is the suffix, all right? So as soon as I find that, I was able to get rid of the bucket and rename it to www.mydomainname.com, all right? So and I said, instead of me to be building this on the console, it doesn't make sense. Let me just use Terraform, and then I can just destroy it once I'm done. And if any other prospective employers request for such thing, I will be able to. So long story short, though, that is what little project here and there that I'm doing, so that I will not just lose touch of where I've the level that I have been, so to say. So I just say, okay, let me ask if anybody knows any good platform too that can easily attract traffic. So yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't think I only always use Indeed, honestly. I don't find success on LinkedIn too, but
Yeah,
I know
you said it
some
repeatedly.
people that
You said
do,
it.
right? So but I can do a check, and if anyone knows any other platform, please let him know. But what I'll say is about Indeed is the trick with Indeed and any of this platform is if you upload your resume on there, right? It somehow gets a lot of attraction after you upload it immediately. But then if your resume has been there for a while, it kind of dies down. So I think there's something that it your resume it would be maybe whoever the employers are when they are searching for work, they'll see your resume if you just recently uploaded. That's why if you guys notice, anytime you upload your resume to Indeed, you probably get some, and you apply, you get some calls back right away. So what I'm trying to say is that if your resume has been on their platform for a while, the trick is you want to keep re-uploading your resume every week
Okay.
to refresh it. So that way, if they are searching for cloud engineers, your name also pops up. Because there are also other people that use a lot of employers that use Indeed to look for candidates. So when they are searching, if your resume has been there for a while, I just think it's just a lot of more people have upload resume. I think it prioritize those people. If your resume has just been there and you're not doing anything, the algorithm does not prioritize you. So you just have to kind of like be active on their platform. And also another way that I used to be active is just applying to jobs, as many jobs as I can. If I see one of those quick apply, a job that I feel like I can do, I just apply to it. So you're someone that told me this, and I think that theory is kind of true because it's the same thing with YouTube. Like I haven't been posting on YouTube, right? The algorithm does not prioritize my video. If people are searching for cloud engineer video, my video doesn't even show up unless if you specifically type my name to go look for my video. But when I start posting videos regularly again, YouTube will start prioritizing my content again and showing it to more people. So I just think that's how the algorithm works. So you just have to keep deleting your resume and re-uploading it. You can pick how frequent you want to do that. Maybe every week, every 2 weeks. It's pretty literally up to you.
Okay, thank you so much.
And if anyone has any Chris, I know you had your hands raised. I don't know if you wanted to say something to that.
Yeah, yeah. I think you mentioned a lot about it, but I think it also depends on the location, maybe where for example, in my own case, like I'm based in South Africa. So you see, like in my own case, apart from LinkedIn, recruiters and companies post most also on Peanut. I'm not sure if you guys know about Peanut.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Peanut is like the go-to after LinkedIn as well. I
Okay.
think it is also dependent on the location when you are. Most of you guys are in US, so in US it can be is the go-to platform apart from LinkedIn as well. And also, as you mentioned, I've also noticed that on Indeed, like having traction from recruiters. I think, as you mentioned, like you're uploading your CV, I think the trick. Like I didn't know about it because I've noticed after a while I was not having traction on Indeed. So I think also looking at what you just mentioned now, like I think that trick that you mentioned now, I was not aware about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think also trying that to also work. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah. What it-
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Thank you so much. I mean,
Yeah.
New Jersey, which is close to New York. There are some times recruiters do reach out to me for on-site. For hybrid, 2 days on location and 3 days off-site. And the part of New Jersey that I live is just one bus to New York. Which of course, New York is my second home anyway. So, but it's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think you just have to keep refreshing your resume. If you refresh your resume, when those recruiters are searching, your name will come up. But if it's just been there for a while, the
The
algorithm is
algorithm
not
will
gonna
not be in my favor. Okay,
prioritize it. Yeah, it's
right.
not.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
AZ, for a new person like myself, what would be an ideal job for me to go in and start looking for work for as a new person, for as
Mm-hmm.
going into the building or doing it remote.
Whatever, like for a new person, you really can be picky because all you're trying to do is getting your foot in the door. So you might have to go to the office if that's what it requires, and if you get an opportunity to do hybrid, do it too. But as a new person, definitely don't turn down a job because you don't want to go to the office. Since you are
Gotcha.
trying to get your foot in the door, you just have to do what you gotta do. So it might be better to just take the opportunity. That's what I did. The first job I took, I had to go to the office. That was even before this whole COVID thing. Then we used to just only, uh, well, I had to go to the office, right? But you guys will find out for example, I'm talking about Deloitte. That was the first company that hired me, right? You'll find out that some companies going to the office is really even much better because when you go there, the only thing you have to deal with is traffic and parking. Other than that, the office is nice. Deloitte has this open floor concept where when you go to the office, you are not going into one room with your team and your manager's desk is here and you are sitting here. It's not like that. It's just like you come into the office, no nobody is keeping track of you whether you are there or not. So you could really work from home. But I still like going to the office because when I go to the office, there's like, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 floors. I can go on any floor. They have a bunch of different spaces you can work, quiet rooms, different lounge areas that you can sit. You can even work from the coffee shop across the street. Nobody's keeping track of when you come and go. You can get to the office at 9 a.m., leave at 1. The only thing they measure you on is just make sure your work is done. If whatever you are working on, you are delivering it on time with good quality, that's what they care about. So I like that about their culture because nobody was keeping track of me. It's like I would get to the office. If I wanted to leave at 1 p.m., I can leave at 1 p.m. And if I wanted to stay home for the day, I can stay home for the day. But there are other people that may have joined projects that their team may agree to meet at the office and a specific location in the office. That you will see some people like that at the office. But in general, you can just come and go. So sometimes even I'm saying all that to say even if they have hybrid and all that stuff
Good job.
on the job description, it doesn't mean that it's
Good
going to
job.
be a terrible experience. It might still be a good experience. So you guys shouldn't turn down a job because they're telling you to come to the office. My last job, they actually have it. The recruiter, I was telling the recruiter I want a a 100% remote job. She was like, oh no, it's gonna be hybrid. But I said, okay, I'll take it. So I went through the interview process, got the job. Now that I've started working, the projects that I joined is a 100% remote project. So I work 100% from home. So those hybrid stuff you can negotiate it when the idea is don't use that to turn down your job opportunity. At least say it through. Then maybe when you get on the project, try to discuss it with your manager and try to negotiate with him. If it is true indeed that you have to come to the office, but sometimes most people are still, almost everyone that I know that I personally are all still working remotely. Even the ones that are getting new job are still working remotely. So
So
yeah,
Aziz,
go ahead.
I like to
eh,
add, I'll just mention something. I know a lot of people want to work remote, and I used to have to go into an office. I have a lot of years experience, but I don't have a lot of years experience in cloud admin. But um, one thing you got to keep in mind when you're looking for a job and you see remote, a company does have to trust you to work from home. And if you're brand new, especially you're just coming in, you might not have any IT experience or only a couple of years. They got to be able to trust you to know that you can work from home. Yeah, they got the metrics and all that. You know, they want to see if you're doing your work, but there's still that human connection that they kind of want to establish before they decide, okay, well, we can trust you to stay at your house. You're not selling our stuff. You're not, getting rid of any proprietary information.
Mhm.
So if somebody says like, "Hey, you got to come in the office," the first 3 or 4 months, I would like Aziz, I would say, don't pass up a job just because of that.
Mhm.
Don't take it as disrespect.
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
sorry, you want to say something?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, I think also for me, I'm being careful because a lot of in the past when I used to have back-to-back interviews, even though it's hybrid, some of them one day is not just what I have to work remotely, 4 days I have to be in the office. And I just told them I'm open to it because I enjoy, working or getting out of my house just to find out that, oh, good, people like you is who we are looking for. As a matter of fact, we are doing that intentionally so as to filter candidates, so I laughed. And
Mhm.
lo and behold, who doesn't like remote? Remote is what I would prefer. At the same time, it's just what Aziz said that is true because sometimes it depends on the culture and the experience. We might have this anxiety, oh, I'm a fresh person, God forbid I screwed up. It might not be, it might not be that way. This guy, Mr. Paul is his name, is one of your Aziz, is one of your students, Aziz.
Mhm.
So he lives in Texas. They gave him this opportunity. He relocated. He's in Boston, Massachusetts. And the company is owned by Wera Bonfe, I believe. I don't know if I pronounced the name very well. They gave him 4 days in the office. We started this thing together. We don't know nothing. So long story short, within 3 months, 4 months, he proved himself. Do you know that they promoted this guy? In addition to that, they gave him 100% remote. He has added second laptop to his job, but I just want to
Oh wow. Oh wow. Yeah.
yes, I just wanted to share this, like for us too, that we should be smart. We should
Mhm.
be smart to let and back to what the last speaker said. It's true that some of these people we are going to be handling sensitive information, personal information of customers
Mhm.
of well-established institutions. So they want to be
Mhm.
able to say, who is this person?
True.
The picture might be good looking on platform on job platform, but if they want to be able to connect that human face, and then if you can prove it to them, of course they will say, why are we bothering this guy? Go home
Mhm.
and be working. So I just say, let me quickly chip in that because that's a practical testimony that I can I,
Right,
I
right.
can relate to.
It's true. It's true. Because you guys have to know in the IT space, your managers probably wants to work remote too, right?
Right.
So when and our job is one job that we can do remotely because it doesn't really require you to be in the office and be in each other's space. As long as you have Zoom, Teams, different ways to communicate and collaborate, you guys can work together. They know that. So they are not going to, I haven't seen any company that's just bent on you need to be in the office and you need to be sitting right there and I need to be looking at you. No, so most of the times when you guys see those remote hybrid thing, they don't let it discourage you because it could just be a filter thing they're using to filter out. When you get the real job, you'll find out that your manager on that project works mostly remote too. A lot of your team members, like on the job that I said my last job that I just got, that the recruiter told me no, it is hybrid. You have to come to the office 2 days a week. On the projects that I'm working on now, everybody is in a different state. So you guys should definitely not use that to discourage you. At least go through with it. And like David said, it could just be like a trust thing. They need to put a face to your name. They need to see how you are. Then once you build that relationship with your manager, you can always, because it doesn't matter what is on the job description, your hiring manager that's managing you on the day-to-day, you can talk to him during your one-on-one and you can always negotiate. You guys can agree that, okay, you'll work on this day. So, but don't let going to the office discourage you. Not that. I know after COVID, everyone was got used to the 100% remote. Now, for a while too, I was avoiding those hybrid ones, but now if I see it, I apply to it because chances are when you start working, it's probably going to be 100% remote. And if it is hybrid, it might just be hybrid for a while until you prove yourself. So that's what I'll say. Okay. Does anyone have any question? Mr. Mark, I see you're talking. Are you just saying something? But,
Yeah, it's just with regards to the hybrid and the remote thing. We have to understand also that you wouldn't give somebody $1 million and say, oh, just go home with it.
That is true. That is true.
So you can't expect someone to do that to you too. You understand? So that's life, man. We have to be reasonable at times,
That is true. I don't think there are any, at least I haven't worked at any company that's just they want you to come to the office just solely they can monitor you and micromanage you. I think it's more of like just depend on projects you're working on, like what Mr. Mack and Mr. Davis said, security issues, the type of data you are handling and all that stuff. They just want to make sure.
That can cost them millions. So
Yeah. I can tell you from experience, they want people back in the office because I experienced this right before COVID happened. A lot of companies, like I used to work for United Healthcare, signed multi-million-dollar leases for people to come into the office, and then people got told to stay home, and they're not taking that loss. I could tell you that now. They're like, you coming in this office. Even the managers having to start coming back into work at least a couple days a week because they're not going to waste that money.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, David, you're correct with what you said. I work for United Healthcare, by the way.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is, even the working remote thing, you don't have to come on camera. There's a policy, as a matter of fact, that you shouldn't turn on your camera. I don't know how my manager looks like. None of my colleagues, I don't know how they look like. All I know is they could be a ghost for all I care, but I don't know that.
Right. Same here. Because I was on a production operations team, and I had been fully remote for maybe 8 years before COVID even happened. And I didn't know what a lot of people look like. But going back to the trust thing, I had also been with the company for maybe 5 years at that time. So they knew my work ethic. But yeah, I didn't know what a lot of people look like until they put their face in their Outlook email. And then some people like me didn't, so I still ain't know what they look
like. Right. You're right, actually. But it's fun actually talking to ghosts, so I like it.
Yeah, right. And I'm one other thing, and then I'm gonna stop. I know it's sort of like, well, people with money will say money is not that great, but that fully remote thing, it wear out after a little while. I'm gonna tell you right now. You start looking to be like, man, I would really like to get out the house.
Yeah.
So just so you know, it's cool, and it was cool for a long time. But then, like, if you start building your family, maybe, and kids don't understand that. You know, they kind of do, but people think just because you're sitting downstairs, you just sitting downstairs, you're not really at work.
Okay.
But it does get to a point where sometimes you just want to get out the house. But then
So
that's it. That's all I wanted to add.
yeah, those were valid point, by the way. But for the payment, I think the pay is great depending on the role or the department you're in. They
You
pay really
right,
good money,
right.
very good money in IT.
Oh
So
yeah. And
yeah,
if Amazon come knocking, believe me, you're gonna leave your house if they tell you leave the house. Because I interviewed for an Amazon job and I saw some of the Amazon salaries. I didn't get it, but the numbers there, you're gonna leave. You're gonna pay for gas. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah.
So don't get hung up on staying remote.
got you. Yeah, great advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So yeah. So the whole thing is don't overlook those hybrid positions. And if you get an opportunity to work on an opportunity where it's hybrid, you should take it. Especially if you're just starting out. Your first job is not really going to be, it's not really, I mean, if you get a good job for your first job, the pay, everything is good, take it. But if one or two categories missing from it, I'll still take it because really, if you're just starting out, your first job is just to get your foot in the door. And really, in the tech space anyway, people don't stay in jobs that long. Probably 6 months to a year, maybe at the most 2 years, 3 years. People are always bouncing around. So don't look at it as something you'll be for the next 10 years. Just see it as an opportunity to learn, to see at least how it is to work as a cloud engineer. Then once you get that experience, it also builds your confidence that you can use it. You can take that to the next job you apply to. All right. Does anyone have any question? Okay. So I can just show you guys something that I was working on. It's not really like anything to anything fancy. So we can just talk about that. And if you guys want to talk about something else, maybe like the ending stuff for next week, we can talk about that too. Excuse me. So when I was working on building my Docker projects, because I ended up deleting all my images because I wanted to restart since it's been a while so that I built them. I didn't know which Docker image I used to build what. So everything was just all over the place and I deleted it. Then when I rebuilt my image for one of the applications, it wasn't working. And I tried everything. It just wasn't working. So I wanted to figure out a way to connect to my container and see if the application files that I'm downloading are even on the container, because I wasn't sure if there's a typo somewhere in my Docker file that is causing my tags to fail. So long story short, okay, KLV. Yeah, I'll check my email today and I'll let you know. Thank you. So oh, I think I saw what you mentioned. Yes, sure. I'll create a coupon for you for that one, for that project. Don't worry. Just remind me if I forget. I think I read it yesterday, now that I remember. Yeah. Okay. So mainly I wanted to connect into my Docker container and see my container in ECS and see if my application code is there. So that was it took me a while to figure it out, but apparently you can SSH into your container. They really don't SSH into containers, right? It's not advised to, but with ECS Fargate, right? AWS does have a way you can connect to your container. For me, I just wanted to review my HTML directory, my env file, make sure that all the values that I was populating in it through my Docker file was there. So what I want to show you is if you want to connect into a Docker container in ECS Fargate, how you can do that. So I do have the note that I wrote. Where is it? All right. So the first thing you want to make sure is that when the role that your container is going to use, your tax role, your ECS tax role has SSM full access and has ECS tax execution role policy. Because the way you will connect to your Docker container is using AWS CLI. So you need this permission. So I'll just show you guys real quick. I'm going to create a row. Elastic, I was trying to put ECS, but Elastic Container Service, right? So I'm creating a row, the service is Elastic Container Service, right? Then I'm going to click next here. Then we have the policy here. No, so I guess this is automatically when you select that service, this gets added to it. I'll just click next and I'll give it a no. I'll just say, let's see this. ECS tax row. I just call it ECS tax row. All right, so I'll create that row and I'll just go and edit it. So once I've created the row, ECS tax row. My ECS tax row here, I'll select it. Then I'm just going to, once you create the row, I'm just going to add another policies to it. So attach policy. I need to attach Amazon SSM full access. So I look for SSM, Amazon SSM full access here. And I need to find this Amazon ECS tax execution rule policy. I'll add that. The Docker file that I'm using needs access to S3. So I'm going to find S3 too. S3 full access. And I'm going to add permission. So I've added S3 full access. Then I've added the one that are required to allow you to SSH into your Docker image, right? Into your Docker container. So this is it. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to create like a container. So I'll go to ECS. I'm going to create a cluster. We'll call it test. Because I used test before demo. It's going to be ECS Fargate. That's all you really need to do. You just need to give it a name and create. So it's creating the cluster. Then the next thing I'm going to create is the task definition. I'm just going to select task definition here. Create new task definition. I'll call it demo 2. And the launch type is going to be AWS Fargate. We'll leave all these values as default. So for the role, I'm trying to find the one that I created, but I probably created it wrong, but it's fine. I'll just use one of this, then I'll just modify it. So this ECS task execution rule. When we create stuff, is AWS always creates this for you. So we can just use this. It's fine. I'll just modify it when I'm done. So I'll use the same thing for the role. So the tax role, and yeah, I'll use it because I'm using the same policy I'm going to use the same policy in them. So I'll select that, and down here on that container, I'm just going to call it demo. Then I get my image. Put my image UI right here. I'll leave all this option as default. So my image does require an environment variable. I mean, environment file that I have in S3. So I'm just going to get it. So all the stuff I'm doing here has nothing to do with what I want to show you, but the main thing is adding those policy to whatever role your container is using. So all this can stay default. I'm going to create my tax definition. Before I create my service, I'm going to modify that task execution rule here, so I can add all the things that I want to add. So I'm going to add policies again. So S3 full access. I'm going to add, what's the other one? Amazon SSM full access. And the third one is I think I already have that on it already. So I'll just click add permissions for now. Oh yeah, I already have that one there, that's why. So I added the SSM. We already add this Amazon ECS tax execution rule policy. So that was the first one they add when we created it. So I've added the SSM one that will allow me to connect to it using AWS CLI. Okay. So now I have my tax definition. My cluster is up. I'm going to create a service in there. And all this stays the same. Under the service, I'm going to pick my tax definition. Service name, I'll call it demo. Yeah, service. Desired tax 1. So all this other one can stay optional, but under networking, I'll just spin it in the default VPC. I'll use the default security group, that's fine. So the main thing I'm just showing you is how to SSH, because when you use AWS CLI to connect to it, it won't really need your security group and all that stuff because you are using CLI. So creating my service. Yes, go ahead, Ahmed.
Yes, thank you, Aziz. So I do know we can even SSH into a container. But I know for ECS, AWS kind of handle that part of management of the container or instance.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we typically do when we SSH into a managed server like ECS?
Yeah, so you're not doing anything. So you're not going to SSH into it just to configure anything because this is a tax, right? This service that I'm creating will create this tax. And this tax, if something happens to it, it goes down and another one comes up. So it's like containers that AWS keeps spinning in the background. So the main reason why I was connecting to, that I wanted to connect to this server, this container, was to check that my env file, because I was building my Docker image. And when I end up going to deployment, it was failing. So I've troubleshoot everything in my network, troubleshoot whatever I can do, the load balancer, because it's saying it was failing the load balancer health check. And I couldn't really figure out where the error is coming from. So I wanted to see what the files look like on the container. For example, my env file, are my credentials populating correctly on it? Are all my application code in the HTML directory, stuff like that. I just wanted to see what the file looks like on the container. So that's my own main reason.
Okay.
So that was how I end up finding out about this. So I think my tax is running now. Let me see. Okay, yeah, my tax is running. So once you have your tax, so everything I just showed you, the main thing you need is the policy added to your tax execution rule. Then the next thing is the old spinning up a container. This is assuming you already have a container running. So now this is where we start. Oh, Wahab, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to mention that we can actually do this we can also do this locally with VS Code and Docker desktop as well. Maybe once we're done this we can show, but yeah, we can do this locally with Docker desktop and Docker and VS Code actually.
Okay, yeah. So do you wanna show us?
No, once you're done.
Okay.
I probably don't have a Docker file already, but once you're done, I can walk you through it. You can also do it, yeah.
All right, sure. Cool. So my tax is running. So the next thing I'm going to do is so I found out that in order to execute the command to be able to connect to your ECS container, you have to execute this command, the CLI command, which makes, let me close this Explorer. You have to execute this command. And this is going to enable that feature on your on your ECS service to allow you to execute command on it. So this is what the CLI command looks like, right? So here you need to add your cluster name, and here you need to add your service name. So I'm going to go back to my cluster here. My cluster name is demo. So if I go in my cluster, my service name is demo SRV. So I'll copy this. So in my command here, for my cluster name, I'm going to update it here. My cluster name is demo, and my service name is demo. So, right. So once I have this command, I can just open the terminal from anywhere. So I'm going to copy this command in my Visual Studio Code. Let me maximize this. In my Visual Studio Code, I can just open the terminal here. So and I'm going to run this. So that executed successfully. So if I go all the way down, I'm just pressing enter to complete the output. There you go. So you can see here, they added that enable execute command. They enable it to true. So once you've enabled it, you can, it says to restart your ECS service. So I'm going to go back to my cluster and my service here. And I'm going to restart my service. So you can just click update service and here force new deployment and just click update. So it's going to terminate the first task I have running and going to spin up a new task with the updated setting for my CS service. So I'll wait for this task to start running. Then we'll run the next command to SSH into it. So ECS right now, the service that I created is using a blue-green deployment. So the blue-green deployment is, it would spin up how, and you guys can also, they can ask you this on the interview. So how blue-green deployment works is, whatever server you already have running, it will leave that, right? So that's the one you guys are seeing here. You can see that one is green. So you guys can even see how AWS is putting those little hints there. That's why this is green. This is my previous server. It will leave it there while it is creating the new one. So you can see the new one up here. And that one is blue. Once this new one has been created and it is running and it is in a steady state, it would now remove the green one. So this color will change to green and it will remove your old server. So that's what they mean by blue-green deployment. So it wouldn't remove your previous server until the new one you are trying to create is running and is okay. So you can see now this is green. If I keep refreshing, you'll see that my old one will go away.
A question.
Go ahead.
Okay, for this blue-green deployment, is it part of your configuration, or how does it come to life?
You say, is it part of the configuration?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of ECS configuration. That's how ECS Fargate works. You don't have to, there isn't any additional thing you have to set up for it. It's just how it works behind the scene. Is that your question?
Yeah, I understand now.
Yeah.
Because it's running on Fargate. So assuming that we have the other side, like it's running on instance, is it this kind of approach, is it going to be applicable in that Like blue.
No. Then you would have to. So the concept can be practiced even by yourself, right? So in ECS Fargate, they implemented it. But let's say you are running an instance, you would have to implement that concept yourself by spinning up your new server, right? Pointing your load balancer to that new server before and making sure your application is reachable before you can terminate it. As a matter of fact, yes, you can implement it on the EC2 now, because the last time I checked on the auto scaling group, right? AWS has added that feature, but that feature is on the auto scaling group. So I can show you once we're done here. But AWS add that feature on the auto scaling group. Let me show you here.
Okay.
So if you guys EC2 auto scaling group, create auto scaling group. First, we don't have a launch template. First, I'm just gonna select anything random. Right here. So it's the one AWS just added. So this kind of work like the blue-green deployment too. So you can see the different policies that AWS will add to your auto scaling group based on whichever one you pick, right? Launch before terminating. So this one will launch new instances and wait for them to be ready before terminating others. So it's kind of like the blue-green deployment. Yeah. So the AWS just added this feature to the auto scaling group.
All right, thank you.
All right. All right. Where was I? Here. All right. So my tax is ready. So now once your tax is ready, you can run the next command, which is this one. So the command, this is the command you use to SSH into it. It is, you need your cluster name and you need your tax ID. And you also need your container name, right? So cluster, for my cluster name, I call it demo. My tax ID would be, so if you guys come to your service, right? Your service is here, select it. If you come to the tax tab, you see your tax running. This is your tax ID. But if you click this box to copy it, watch what it's going to do. It is going to give you the entire ARN. But understand the tax ID is the last part of that ARN, this. So that's the only one you need. So copy this and paste it here. And my container name. So container name, I called it demo, but you can also say it here. In your tags, container, the container name, I called it demo. So just going to copy this command. And And I'll paste it in my terminal here. Oh, no. I didn't copy. Copy this command, paste it in my terminal here. And there you go. You can see I've SSH into it. This is what it is going to show you here. It's just going to start session, right? And it's going to look like that. So now you can ls, right? You can see what you have there. I can let me clear. I can change my directory, cd. So this is the main thing I was doing, because this was very helpful, because it helped me, because I've tried troubleshooting everything. The only thing I couldn't confirm is if my files are actually on my container the way I want them to be. So by doing this, it helps me eliminate that, because if I didn't do this, I would still be stuck on, I think that's the issue. But by connecting to it and checking those files, and I can verify that those files are right, it makes me look elsewhere where I think the issue may be coming from, which the issue ended up coming from my Docker file, which it was my PHP command that I was running. It wasn't downloading my PHP extensions correctly, and that was what was causing the issue. So here I can cd into my HTML directory. So I just do var HTML, right? And ls, and I can confirm that my application codes are there. That's the same thing you would do on an EC2 instance, right? If I do ls-a, can see all my files are there in my env. Then the next thing I checked is the env file. So go ahead, Amin.
Yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say this is really amazing, but I was gonna say AWS can make it easy rather than going through this kind of hoops. You just go into a container. There should be a button, just like with SSH on the console.
That's
There should be a button that we could just do it on the console and get it over with. But yeah, this is a nice way. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I mean, it does. I agree with you that they do have that feature for EC2 where you can just connect to it directly. And yeah, I agree that it would be a nice feature. So if I want to, the same thing you can do on an EC2 instance, you can do here. So the next thing I just did is I just cut my env file to see what is in it. Then I can verify here that my database credentials are there. Then I also verify that my app URL is there. And that was what I used to troubleshoot it, and my RDS endpoint is there. So that's why I just used to verify this part. And once I saw that everything is good here, then I shifted my troubleshooting focus to something else. Had it been I couldn't SSH into it, I would have been stuck here because I've checked everything. I think everything is good. But I was like, oh, maybe somehow my credentials are not being populated in there. So no, you wouldn't make any change in the container. Remember I said the main purpose of this is so you can go look. Any change, think of these containers as the same way an auto-scaling group will create an EC2 instance for you, right? You wouldn't go on one of those EC2 instance auto-scaling group create for you and go and make your change there, right? Because the change, whatever setting is on that EC2 instance is coming from the launch template. So the same thing with this, right? With this one tax that I just connected to, right? This one tax that I just connected to is being created by the service. So think of the service as almost like auto-scaling group that is creating the tax. So if I stop this tax, the service should create another one for me, because the desired count on my service, the desired tax count on my service is 1. So I've stopped I've stopped that task, right? Watch, if I go back to the service, this is the service here. I click on tags. And I refresh here. See, it is creating another one.
Hey, excuse me, Aziz.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, I have to step away, but I just wanted to remind you, please create that year coupon for me and let me take a look at it to see if I
Yeah,
can do
sure.
the year.
Sure, I'll do it right away once I'm done.
Oh,
Once I'm
okay.
done with
All
this.
right.
All right.
Thank you very much, man. And everybody, y'all have a good day. I'll try
You
to
too.
see y'all next week.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Okay. You
Yeah.
too.
All right. Bye. All right. So you see, Ahmed, once I terminate that tax, it created another one. But the configuration that will be on this tax will be whatever configuration was created on my Docker image and my tax definition. So that's why you wouldn't SSH into your container and make some modifications on it, because it's just like once that tax, that will even cause misconfiguration if you have multiple tags running and the configuration is different from one. So if you notice anything in there and you need to change it, you will go back to your Docker file and your tax definition and you adjust your change there accordingly. So yeah, that's the main thing I want to show you guys. So remember, the main thing is just to connect to your container, you need this row added to your tax row. Then on your service, you need to enable the execute command. Then once you enable it, then you can SSH into it and you check whatever you need to check. But really, typically for containers, it is not advisable to. They don't SSH into them. All right. Yeah. So that's the main thing I wanted to show you guys today.
Can I show what it looks like if we were to do it in like a local / development environment?
Yeah, sure. Great.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Yeah, can you see my VS Code?
Yeah. Yeah, your stuff looks nice. Is this Mac?
Yeah, I'm on a Mac. I'm on a Mac.
I like how your stuff populates the logo for all the different files you
Yeah.
have.
Okay, I'm just trying to set this up. So I have Docker desktop here and I have this. So this is just a pretty easy application. Let me actually run it and then we can see what the application is. I have a Docker. There is a backend, there's a front end. So backend is just basically an API, Node.js API. Front end is a React application. And the DB is using MongoDB. I have a Docker compose file here just to quickly get it running in Docker compose up -d in a local environment. So it's essentially just a list where you can add. Let me see. So you can add like just a new book, sample book, add the author, sample author, and the year it was published, 2023. And it saves that to the existing list, and then you can view the list and the details of the list. So essentially, we have the front end, which is basically displaying this, the back end, which we're using to save, to make the calls. And we have MongoDB, which is the application. But if, for example, now, let me do Docker compose down. And keep in mind, for the application to work correctly, all three, all three, I have two Docker files, one for the backend and one for the front end, and I just have a MongoDB DB application that runs locally. So the backend Docker file is just basically using Node, running npm install, which is to install the
Or the node package
other
manager.
packages here, the Node package manager. I have just a sample env here using, but these are actually the env that I'm using. So just using Mongo admin secret and ports. So for example, now if I go ahead and let me see the backend. Docker build mines. If I went ahead and I built this Docker image, this Docker image with this Docker file, but I forgot to put in the MongoDB details. So like passing that environment file, let's say for example. So it would build successful. It's not gonna error out. And let's say I go ahead and run it, Docker run minus the speed 5,000. But now backend API. So using Docker desktop, when you click, the good thing I like about Docker desktop that it gives you the logs. It gives you just a quick inspect tab so you can see all the details about the Docker container. And here is an exec in which I'm actually in the Docker container.
Oh, okay.
So I'm actually in the Docker container, and if I do the print env, you would see that the MongoDB details. Oh, okay, so it has crashed because this is what happened. It's not able to connect to the MongoDB database because I don't have a database running. So it failed. But let me just run that Docker again. If I did print env and I can see here the environment variables, so it shows us MongoDB password, MongoDB username. That's because that's what was hard coded
Yeah.
in the Docker file, right? So if this was crashing, then I can always go, because when you just click on the exec instead of having to do any SSH, it automatically takes you into the container. I can actually see the files that are in there. I can go into, for example, the config. Oh, okay, it's gonna keep crashing because I don't have the what's it
Yeah.
called going. But if I went ahead now and I actually run this correctly, but I passed that env file minus p 5,000 dash env file back API. We would see that if I run that same print env command, we can see that it's actually passing the correct MongoDB username and password. So, I mean, just the same thing you were showing. If you're in that situation where you had built that Docker file, you can actually easily just, when you have the Docker container running locally, all you have to do is just click exec and it automatically SSH and you're SSH'd into the container and it's gonna work. So
Oh, I see. So with this, your container has to be running locally before you can
before,
see
yes.
these extra features on it.
Yeah,
'Cause I just yeah. So I think that's the okay. That's perfect. Thank you. Because it's the same exact thing I did, but how to do it locally. But
yeah.
the limitations we have here with our project is because since we didn't build ours locally, I won't be able to
Oh no, you can run it locally. You can run you can you can run your Docker container like that, what's it called? You should
you
be able
could
to run it locally.
but
So yeah,
what about the database that it needs to
So
connect?
what you do is just you can create it for the security group, right? For the database. When you um when you create a security group for the database, you can have it available because currently for the database we have it connected in which only
The containers can
the
access it.
content the only containers can access it. You can just open a port there that says your local DB can your local environment can also access it.
Okay.
Sorry, your local your my IP. You can just do my IP and you should be able to access it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
another way you can also do that is if you have the Docker app, if you have the Docker extension, you can actually, I think if you do this, wait, so I have this running, you can, wait, not only view looks, but it should be attached shell. And then yes, you will pretty much be
Oh wow, that's cool.
you'll be logged into the container. Yeah. So because I know, like you said, in the real world, you most likely would never have to log into the it would have to be locally where you can only SSH into the container, right? If it was running in the production or even in the development environments, there's pretty much no limitations. But if it was locally, then you're able to again do all of these things and it helps.
Yeah. Yeah. So mainly there's no reason to SSH into a container, but it would probably be solely for the purpose of what we are doing here, to troubleshoot something,
Yeah,
to verify
just to
that
troubleshoot.
something is there. Yeah, but you wouldn't SSH into it to configure anything in it. No. Okay. So another thing I wanted to mention is just, and this is kind of like an embarrassing thing. Well, not really embarrassing thing, but it's just how my brain works sometimes. Where, and wow, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. So, another thing is just, so usually when I clone a repository, I'm so used to the habit of using my source control here to pretty much press the button to commit and push. But then I was trying to, one thing I found that sometimes, well, what was I was trying to just use the command the other day, and I couldn't even remember the commands anymore because for so long I've been using the source control here to commit and push my update. So I'm just saying that as a reminder, every once in a while, use this, but also get in an habit of using your commands to push. So that way, it's not something you're just going to forget. So you guys remember your command git status just to check, right? You git add, if you add the period, it will add all the changes in that directory, right? Git commit with the M is message, you type whatever messages and you push it. So make sure you are always getting the habit of running the commands too, every once in a while. I like the feature in Visual Studio Code because I can just push two buttons and I push my stuff today. But then I did it for so long that I'm almost forgetting the command. So just a reminder. Just a reminder that anything that has a command that we are used to, anything that has a command that there's also features in Visual Studio Code that helps make it easy, try to also run the command and at the least have the process and the notes down somewhere that you can always reference. And this is just for even if you at work someday, you are sharing the screen and you need to run the command where you don't have access there. This is not there. You need to be able to remember how to do that. Yeah, I was forgetting it too. So just wanted to point that out. And that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you guys today. If you guys want this note, I can put this note to SSH into a container on Slack. All right. Does anyone have any other question?
Aziz, I wanted to ask if you've checked the problem on that GitHub Actions job.
No, because I'm rebuilding my container and I had an issue with my Docker image, so I haven't got there yet. But Titus did it. He said it worked. Did you check what he shared his Docker? He shared his project file, and he was able to run it, and that's what he said over here. So did you check that?
Yes, it's fine. I think
so
me too. I
it
tried
works?
afterward. It's working.
yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, cool. So you updated it to your AMI to 2023.
To 2023, yes.
Okay, perfect. I think after that guy made that update to the whatever latest version he they made the update too. He probably just hasn't updated his note yet, or maybe he did. I haven't read it recently. Because before I know for sure you couldn't use the 2023, but I guess you can use it now. So I will
Okay.
update
So he
that.
just updated the AMI to 2023 and the job will ran like successfully, right?
Yes, he did, and Titus also confirmed last week too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try it again then.
All right. Yeah, cool. So, okay. Does anyone else have any question? All right.
Assis,
yes, sir.
what I'm asking is entirely different.
Okay, go ahead.
Which app do you normally use to buy a stock that one can keep for a while?
Oh, Vanguard. Vanguard is a good company. So
Vanguard can, if you want to buy for keep, not.
Yes, yeah, Vanguard. That's the one I use for my me personally, I use Vanguard for my long-term investments. So here, Vanguard.
Okay, thank you.
This company, yeah. But Vanguard is a good one.
Okay.
That's the one I use personally. But Robinhood also has a feature that I like where for certain stocks, Robinhood allows you to buy fractional shares of those stocks. So let's say stock is $200 and you don't have $200 to buy one share of it. Robinhood has a feature where you can buy $50 of that stock, $20 of that stock.
Yes, I use Robinhood, but I don't know whether it is. I'm looking for a better one to buy something for keep for a long time.
Yes, use Vanguard then. So if you are not worried about buying fractional shares and you just want to be buying, accumulating your shares one at a time for a very long time, and a good reputable company, their service is very good. Their site is very easy to use. Their app is very easy to use. Vanguard, I would recommend Vanguard. This is the one I use for all my long-term shares. Then I just use Vanguard to day trade.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I actually found well, I didn't find it. Someone in the group that I was in posted it, but I don't know if. Let me see. I don't know if there is. They probably don't have a website though. They don't. I don't think they are. Maybe they do. So you guys check this out. Earnings Hub, right? So remember when I was showing you guys on the calendar, the way I find the stocks that are reporting earnings for the week. This one is much better. It's a service that tells you and even organize it for you. So you can see the ones for this week. So you can see Monday. So the good thing about it is there's a bunch of companies reporting earnings, but they would pick the ones that are good, and they will only show you those ones because you don't need to trade. If the market cap for a company is so low, you don't need to be worried about their earnings. But for like good companies, yes, those ones. So this is a good service. I just downloaded the app. I didn't even realize they had a web thing too. So if you guys go here, it's showing the ones for this week. So, and this is what I'll do. I'll just only focus on these ones, do my research on these companies and try to figure out. So you can see on Tuesday, this is before market opens, this is after market close. Now, if you want to go to the next week, so this is for this week. So let's go to next week. So next week, these are the companies reporting earnings next week. There's nothing on Monday that is worth looking at, but Tuesday there's Pepsi, and there's Pepsi is before market opens, and this SAR company is after market close. Then you have Wednesday here. You have Thursday. Thursday is really good. You have Delta, Domino's. This one I've made money on this one before. The last earning they did, I made money on this. And on Friday, you have all the bank, pretty much almost all the banks. Well, not all of them, but some of them, JP Morgan's, Wells Fargo, and stuff like that. So this is a good one that I will use. At least this helps you narrow it down. Then you just have to do your research and guess whether you think Pepsi on Tuesday will beat their earnings or will miss their earnings. And if you guess right, that's how you make money. So yeah, that's the stuff I just learned that I want to share with you guys. All right. Does anyone else have any question?
Yes. For like Tuesday for Pepsi, that shows before market open. So it will be that the option purchase will be done on Monday. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Because by the time they report their earnings, sometimes there might be an opportunity, but most times there won't be, right? So yes, you are right. So for this Tuesday, for this Pepsi on Tuesday before market opens, if this is something I want to trade, I would buy it on Monday, because when they report their earnings on Tuesday morning before market opens, it would have done whatever it needs to do. It would either go up or down already. So by the time market opens, if you try to get in, sometimes it will go down some more. You can get in then, and that's what I mean. Like, you can get in then and just go and pretty much go with the wave until whatever it's going to do, or if it's going up, jump in at that point. But then at that point, you've missed the majority of the way you're supposed to make money. So that's why I don't buy this when market opens. If I want to trade this, the one before open, I'll buy it on Monday. But the one for when after market close, that you can wait till Tuesday, just analyze it, see how it's doing for the day. Before 4 p.m. buy it. So that's always been my strategy. The ones before open, I buy them the previous day, and the one after close, I either buy them the day before if I see a good opportunity, or I buy it on the same day before market close. So that's exactly how you do it. Yeah.
So that you don't miss on the majority of the movement, right?
Exactly. So when
but have you entered like when on the same day and then you caught like some movement at least before the market turns against you?
The terrible thing about me is I don't know how to predict where stock is gonna go. So I don't even try. And the times I've tried, I always lose money. So whenever any stock is moving in any direction, I just leave it alone. It's too risky it's not, because you just never know. It can go down, then go back up, right? But usually when they miss earnings, it will go down. But almost 80 to 90% of the down, almost 80 to 90% of the time, before whatever the result is for Pepsi on Tuesday, it would have done most of that movement already before market open. Then when market open, it will probably do a little bit more, but you'll make most of the majority of the money if you were in it and you guessed right. I mean, you made the right prediction. Yeah.
So do you just do like after for example, Pepsi, so you buy the stock on Monday and then before close of market on Tuesday, you dump the stock, right?
Yeah.
Or do you hold it till?
No, the options. No, I
yeah,
don't.
sorry. So I'm talking about the option. Sorry. You
Yeah,
buy it on Monday and then after the majority of the movement, you dump it on Tuesday.
Yes. So I buy it on Monday after market opens. After they report their earnings, I see in the pre-market, you will see what it's doing, especially Robinhood shows you all that stuff. Then I look at it. Once market opens, if I feel like it's going to make more movement for me to make more money, then as market opens, I'm selling it immediately, but only based on if I feel like it's going to make a little bit more movement, I will leave it and keep monitoring it. And when I feel like it's make the most movement or I'm fine with my profit, I'll just sell it. But I always sell it before noon. I've never kept any of the ones I the earnings one, I've never kept them past after market opens and I see the results for more than 2-3 hours. But that's with me monitoring it because I think it will make a little bit more movement. Typically what I've seen, I mean, it's not always true, but typically what I've seen is the first 15 minutes, you really don't want to sell in the first 15 minutes because it goes up and down. It's very volatile in that time. If it is a company that has reported good, most of the time they would go up in that first 15 minutes, come back down. But then if you wait till everything settles down around 10, between 10, 11, it starts to go back up again. And usually if I look at the data of all the times I've sold, the time is usually between 10 and 11 or at the latest 11:30. But all of it has been right before noon. That's what I've seen. But there will be some times where they beat their earnings, it will drop just slightly, then it will go back up. Those are the ones you have the opportunity to jump right in as soon as market open, because then that will give you an opportunity to make money that way. Sometimes that does happen. And as a matter of fact, that happened this week with these ones. I bought this. They reported their earnings. They did good. But I was trading with emotions this week because I didn't want to lose any money. Soon as market opened, this thing went down. And I didn't want to lose my money. I was already losing some of my money. You know what I did? I sold it. Then for the rest of the day, it just kept going up and kept going up. And it went green and it went where if I would have left it, I would have made money. So that happened with this. And I think it also happened with one other one that I traded like that. So sometimes that does happen where even though they beat the earnings, it's supposed to go up. It was temporarily drop when market opens, then throughout the day, it will just increment up, or vice versa. If it's supposed to go down, it will go up, then it comes back down. Sometimes that happens, but majority speaking, if I buy something and market opens, if I've already it has done most of the movement before market opens, at that point, I'm just looking at when I want to sell. So for me, I've been selling around between 10 and 12 p.m. Not because that's the time, but at least I wait the first 15 minutes, then after that, I just monitor it. Wherever the price goes, then I just sell. So most of the time, that strategy works for me, but on Broadcom, when I did Broadcom, at one point I was making 3,000, like 800, almost 4,000. Then I was going to wait till around 10, 11. Then that was the same day the news, but something happened in the stock market that day. The SMCI, I don't know if you guys know about SMCI. That was the day SMCI, it was right here, right? They've split now, but imagine it was right here. So Broadcom was doing good. Then they reported the news that they were being investigated. This company was being investigated. Then their stock just dropped almost $100 that same day. And because this is a semiconductor company, is one of the big ones that moves with NVIDIA, it affected every other semiconductor. So my Broadcom that I was making almost 4K on, by the time I sold it, I only made like maybe 1,500. So I lost most of that profit. So sometimes that happens. So really, when market opens, if you've already made money, you just have to monitor it closely to see when you can take your profit. So that's what I do. Yeah. So these are the ones for next week that is worth looking at. This one I've made money from it before, and it's very it's not an expensive stock right now, and it is in the semiconductor company, semiconductor sector too. Actually, this is the first earnings thing I ever did when I was doing option. This is the first thing I ever made money on, this company. So, but I don't know. You can use last prediction to guess the next one. You just have to do the research, monitor the stock for the day, see how it's going to do. But these are the ones you should look at this week. This one, you probably stay away from this one because this is like almost a $1,000 stock. And the contract is going to be so expensive. All right. That's pretty much it. Do you guys have any other question?
Good.
All right, cool. All right. Thank you guys. We're pretty much at time anyway. Good luck with everything. Or at least those of you that are doing the options, good luck. I'll talk to you guys, some of you guys during the week, and you guys have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
All
Please,
Thank you.
question. How can the rest of us that won't be able to come to the meeting every Saturday, is there a way we can watch a recorded clip of the meeting?
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube. So if you go on my YouTube
Yep.
channel, it's there. So if you go on my YouTube channel. So if you come to playlist over here. So if you click on this weekly mentorship thing.
Okay.
It will be in here. So you can see the one I'm doing now is already in there.
Okay, that's cool because I wouldn't be making it it would be tough for me to meet up this weekly meetings. So
Sure.
I would prefer to go through them and do during the weekdays.
Yeah, that's fine. You'll see all of them here.
Cool. That's nice.
All
Thank you.
Hey, see, I thought there was gonna have some guys on here that was going. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, and I thought they was gonna do a reference of how you can, I think he was gonna do a step by step going towards the interviews. I don't know if those guys are still willing to do that because I would love to hear how an interview will go and see what the questions they will ask you and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they've joined. People come and go. People join whenever they want. So yeah, if there's anything, it will be recorded and you will be able to see it. Yeah. So all right, cool. Well, thank you guys. Have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Okay. All right. Thanks, AC.
All right. Bye.